public games. Alrighty. Alrighty. Time for the classic game of does my stream work? Yes or no? Because sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't.
Take this. Find them.
Hello, Luke. Hello. Hello. Alrighty. It works. Good stuff. Alrighty. Let me get this all up in here. Doing the classic. Okay, good stuff. I once again need to ask all of my streaming contemporaries how they put the chat on the screen and make it look good. Because I can put the chat on my screen, but it would look not good. How are you? I'm fan-freaking-tastic, Luke. How about yourself? Hi, Dillionaire. How's it going? Hey, howdy, hey. Hey, howdy, hey. Gonna be talking about some stuff, some things. You know, we got some things going on in the wide world today. Okay. I was about to say my green screen, which is not a screen as a reminder. My green bed sheet isn't always the greatest on this thing. All my fellow rich YouTubers, they get to have an actual green screen. I get a bed sheet I've got to precariously hang from my ceiling there. Okay. Good. Got a new RPG system this week, so I've been looking at the core rules. What tabletop role-playing game system? I'm curious to know. Because I am a connoisseur of the fine tabletop role-playing game. I enjoy me a good RPG system. What was I gonna do here? G.I. Joe RPG system. I have not looked at G.I. Joe. I have not looked at that. Fun little side note. I knew someone that was a voice actress on the G.I. Joe show. She's a voice actress in a bunch of things, or not necessarily a bunch of things, but a decent amount of things. And at one point, the person who was making the G.I. Joe cartoon was like, "Oh, hey, I'm gonna make a villain just for you," and then she got to voice this villain. But I have not touched the G.I. Joe RPG system. I couldn't even tell you what dice it uses. Couldn't tell you what the objective is or anything. I couldn't even tell you if it was a class-based system or not. I know literally nothing about it. My own TTRPG. Future of D&D. And my public games. Alrighty. As I have to shuffle through 17 different tabs because I am poor and don't have two monitors. Let me take a look here. Driving right now, but still tuning in. Thank you, Josh. Thank you. Every little bit helps. It's made by the same people who made the Power Ranger and the Transformers RPG and is coming out with My Little Pony RPG soon. That's going to be a big hit with the bronies. One thing, that it's an RPG. I do know that, in fact, that it is an RPG. I do know that. Sup, everyone. Sup, Colin. How's it going? Can I make these bigger? I still haven't played around with, Like, I use Notion for a bunch of things, but I never actually, like, do much with it. Can I make the text bigger? Text color. Turn into... No. Turn into... See, there's other headings. There's toggle headings. Maybe that's a paid service because I'm. What's really great about Notion is so great for note taking, for campaign management, for community management, for a bunch of things. Notion allows you to drop a whole bunch of, different links on notes, on graphs, on whatever, and it's free. Like, I don't even know what you get for paying for it. I think you get to share it with other people, and I think that's good if you're like at a company, I guess. But just for yourself, Notion is fan freaking tastic. You can just sit down and just start making a bunch of notes for your campaigns or whatever else. It's great. Dude, I've been looking at G.I. Joe RPG last few days. What you think? Yeah, I genuinely just haven't bothered looking at that at all. Man, my freaking green screen thing is just. I wonder what's up. I feel like it's more grainy today. Is it because I'm wearing a white shirt? Is it like contrasting the light or something? I wonder. Oh, such is my fate of being poor. I'm definitely interested in giving it a go. We'll have to play it with Mythic GM, though, as I'm sure it would be too hard to get my group into. That's always the thing about getting your players into a new gaming system is players are very much so like human beings. Go figure, right? Human beings hate two things. They hate change and they hate the way things are, right? You like so many players are just so adamant saying, I refuse to play another gaming system. But then but you want to play something else and then you play something else and they're like, oh, the game system we're playing sucks, and it's just constantly a thing. It's pretty annoying. I'm thankfully blessed. I've definitely gotten a bunch of players to play outside of their gaming norms, which is pretty good. Mythic GM, also why too hard? Yeah, it's for solo play because it's not 5e. Good old solo play. I've done a solo play and I plan on doing more. I was actually thinking of recording a solo play and like publishing it and doing basically like a narrative spin on it, where basically I run the solo part of it. Like I'll just like run my session, and then afterward, as I'm like editing it down, then like when there's multiple characters on screen or multiple characters interacting with each other or like the combat's going on, then I would go back and like voice over it using like voice acting, saying like, oh, instead of it just coming down to, hey, so and so rolls for a person, persuasion check, or so and so tries to convince someone of something else. Instead, it would be, oh, so you mean to tell me that you wish to hire my gods to go and slay kobolds? Convince me, like I would do something like that to kind of really spice up the gameplay there, because it'd be a split between the narrative, in canon stuff, and then it'd be the other split of the mechanical side, and me thinking out the rationale of, okay, so my group is going here and there and everywhere. The real question: do you think No Fun Allowed would like the system? I have no idea. I genuinely know nothing about G.I. Joe. Genuinely know nothing about the G.I. Joe system. I haven't even looked at it. I've been looking at a bunch of other things, but I have not looked at that. I'm gonna try changing my shirt. Maybe. Actually, I'm actually. Oh, you know what? This might be the reason. I'm wearing a green shirt. I'm gonna go change out my green shirt real quick. Maybe that'll help. The whole grainy thing. Actually, it's not there anymore. Huh. Okay, maybe. So I'm not. That's really weird. So I'm wearing a green shirt, but I'm not see-through. Well, it's kind of like it's way darker, mind you, because like this green shirt is like typically bright. So my green screen is just all over the place, but exposing my shirt, I guess, helped with the graininess on the side. That's really weird. Okay then, that's settled then. That is settled then. Okay. So with that out of the way, let me take a look here because I have been working on my own RPG system. And mind you, I've got this nice little list here of like either new tabletop role playing game systems or further. My arm just disappears in the aether. It's like the Tomb of Horrors there. But I've got ideas for RPG systems and I got ideas for board games or war games. And right now I'm only working on the one now, codenamed The Horrors Below. So let's take a look at that. So I plan on. Is there any way to fix this? Oh gosh. Eh. Good enough. So I've already gotten the baseline of the entire game down in regards of what I want the system to operate as, in regards of how the gameplay functions and how the game works and how combat works, exploration, roleplay. I am going to have mechanics that are tied to exploration and roleplay, not just two sentences on, oh, hey, when your players explore, they explore, and when your players roleplay, they roleplay. No, I'm actually going to have rules on that, first off. Secondly, there is going to be features which tie into those mechanics. So not all the feats are just, oh, hey, you're better at killing people, or oh, hey, you're better at not dying. No, there are features that are tying into exploration and feats that tie into roleplay. And I think a really big departure from most systems is there is not going to be HP as you and I know it. Because what I've come to discover is I hate Constitution. I really, really do. I think Constitution is such a terrible stat for the game. Because here's what ends up happening to like everybody I've ever talked to, right? Like practically every person that I ask about, hey, how do you feel about Constitution? They are like junkies. They say, oh, I need Constitution. But what does Constitution do for you? It makes my health better. Okay, but like other than the health part, is there anything else? No, but I need health. And I find that Constitution is just, quite frankly, an unintriguing aspect of the game because strength, you do so much with it. Dexterity, you do so much with it. Intelligence, wisdom, charisma, you do so much with those. But you don't do anything with Constitution. All it means is that you maybe take one more hit. Maybe. And so I just hate Constitution. I hate that it gets in the way of character creation. I hate that people feel just absolutely need to absolutely stick their fangs into this stat, which doesn't even do anything for you the majority of the time. I hate it. So, for my game, this system, your HP is actually your stats. Not D&D 5e, not interested in your system. I hate having to choose con, but I do it all the time so I don't die in one hit. Exactly, right? It's such an unintriguing aspect of the game. So, one of the core philosophy designs of character creation, or not character creation, what am I saying? For game design is if everyone is going to do it anyway, it might as well have already been done, right? So, I'm trying to think like a good example of that besides con. I'm trying to think of a good example, but I can't like it's so hard to like think of like another example off the top of my head, but basically con is just boring. What about Dragonborn con is important for their breath weapon? Um yeah, I think like having one hedge case is incredibly boring. Hey mate, how's it going, Dax? It's more an annoying stat than a fun one. It's just my main concern and my main issue with con is just it's an uninteractive stat, right? Because strength, you get to interact with the world with it. Charisma, you interact with the world with it. Intelligence, you interact with the world with it. All these things, you interact with the world with it, except for con. You don't. I'm super into everyone coming out with their own system in wake of the controversy. Only good things can come from it. Very excited to check out all of my faves, IPs, and take all their best ideas for my home games. Heck yeah. So in my system, you have 4 stats, and those 4 stats are your HP. Now, there are several reasons why I like this system. One, think about it this way, right? When you are, let's say you've got the adventuring band, you've got, you know, the fighter, the cleric, the thief, and the, you know, the wizard, right? So the fighter goes up and squares the giant. The giant all of a sudden baps him, and boom, his HP goes down. That makes sense, right? And then you all of a sudden have the let's say the what do you call that thing, the mind flayer all of a sudden shoots a psychic beam at you. You take HP damage, right? And it basically, like, we're just extrapolating HP as being the catch-all of your overall status, right? But I think that's kind of boring because it doesn't, like, you can't interact with it in a more meaningful way. So what I like about tying the HP to your stats is if someone physically hits you, then that takes away from your strength. But if someone does some mental trick against you, then that does damage against your mental stats. And I think the dichotomy there is a lot more intriguing. The only thing you can interact with the world is con is whether you get sick or not, and usually that's just flavor. No one wants to get sick to add flavor. Exactly. Exactly, right? Like, oh, I've got a +3 con. That means I can go drink the sewer water. Okay. Overall, con just feels lackluster. I think boils down to you can drink a lot, maybe poison resist, and more health. It literally comes down to that, right? It is so superfluous. It is so annoying how it dictates exactly just one small aspect of your whole character, like everything, and yet so many people just, like, as you mentioned there, you feel the need to put points into it. It takes away from everything else that makes your character awesome because you don't want to arbitrarily take, you know, possibly one more hit, right? It's so annoying. So I really like the HP, the stats as HP, because the stats as HP is dynamic. If someone goes up and physically hits me, that takes away from my strength. If the wraith goes up and all of a sudden, like, it gets its claws on me and begins draining my will, that is straight up draining my will, right? When the spellcaster casts a mesmerizing gaze, it'll affect my personality, which in my game, for starters here, let me show off to you. Basically, I've got 4 stats. I think 4 stats is perfect. Alrighty. So I've got strength, agility, will, and personality. So there's another great aspect of having of narrowing it down to these 4 stats is when it comes to these stats, both acting as your HP, they will also act as a resource. So I've got a whole bunch of ideas in mind when it comes to what I'm going to be doing in regards to the features and spells and whatnot. And a bunch of those involve using your stats as a resource. So, for example, being agility. So I've already got my idea for this initiative game where when it's time to go for initiative, if you have a special feat, you can use your agility to increase your initiative. So I think that's a really cool ability, right? And I think that's very flavorful. I think it's both flavorful and mechanical. Hey, like, the monster is moving quickly. I'm going to literally push myself beyond my means to go quicker. It's going to hurt me in the long run, but in the short term, that's going to be very good. I burned some agility now, but that means I'll be able to act a little bit quicker, right? Will. When it comes to your will, all of a sudden, you're casting this awesome spell. You cast the spell, and you can burn your will to then make the spell a little bit more potent. Your personality. You burn your personality to make people like you more. You really extrovert yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like you're in a crowd and you're schmoozing people up, but then you really put yourself out there. You're like, oh my gosh, guys, this is absolutely incredible. Yeah. And then you literally are burning your personality to, increase some charisma rolls, let's say. I think that there's a lot of merit to that style. Reminds me of Spellburn and DCC. I like it. Kind of. Yeah, kind of, in a sense, except Spellburn, the idea behind Spellburn is you, as a spellcaster, you typically have bad physical stats, and that's made basically like you sacrifice your physical stats as the trade-off to cast awesome spells. In my system, it'll just be like you're burning the stat to do the thing that your stat's already doing, kind of thing. And then also, on top of that, when you're adventuring, your stats are getting knocked down anyway. Now, that being said, strength is the new con, right? Because for I'm already envisioning in my head, the majority of monster attacks are going to hit your strength, because strength is a new con out of the 4 stats. So when the bandit goes to stab you, when the when the bear goes to claw you, when the not owlbear here, when it goes to bite you, when these things do these things, it's typically going to be from your strength. So, strength is a new con, but you've only got the 4 stats, and your stats aren't going to be perfect, right? So, is what it is. So now I can actually play Gandalf, Badass Wizard, and Expert Swordsman. Yeah, that's the thing, too, is I want there to be... So I've already got some core classes, and my idea for that is going to be basically you have like not subclasses, but basically every time you level up, you can increase some feature somewhere. So I totally expect there to be, melee casters to some degree, because it'll be absolutely necessary. Casting is dangerous in a sense, and melee is necessary to some degree. How will you replenish stats? So my current rendition right now, right this very second, is when you take a long rest out in the wilderness, you gain back 1 random physical stat and 1 random mental stat. That's my current rendition. And then to like the subsets of that as well is when you're out in the wilderness, I'm gonna have whole wilderness rules. Just let me see like how much I've got written down, because I'm going to be heavily doing wilderness exploration here. Okay. Travel in time. So in the wilderness takes part in 4 sections. When you're in the wilderness, the DM, or what I haven't figured out what the name of the rule keeper in this is going to be, but basically the day takes part in 4 sections. You have morning, afternoon, evening, and night. Yeah, morning, day, evening, and night. Those are the four that I have. It's literally right there. And so with these four sections, you get to decide what you do as a party in the wilderness, and that's entirely up to you. And I'm gonna have a bunch of these things: lead, scout, forage, fish, march, hunt, craft, repair, rest, sleep, make camp, cook, force march, and explore. So those are the ones that I currently have right now. There's gonna be more. So my idea in this game is the wilderness is scary, right? Wilderness is you're not guaranteed safety, comfort, security. So when you're out in the wilderness, your stats don't come back nearly as often. But once you go back to civilization, then they do. Hello, Rober. How's it going? How's it going? And so my current rendition, you get one random physical stat back, one random mental stat back each time you take a rest. It basically encourages you to do jaunts out into the wilderness, into the dungeon, and then you eventually, you want to return back to safety and society. When it comes to dungeon exploration takes place in turns as well, except they are taken in 10-minute turns. So you say, hey, gang, you're in the dungeon now. What do you do? Oh, yeah. So we explore around the room. Okay, and you do the procedures. But yeah, the so and what I was thinking is, so in regards of the whole, getting one step back thing. So because there are going to be a ton of these features of exploration, like the party roles here of the lead scout, forward, fish, etc., etc. One thing I was thinking of is natively you do nothing except for the rest, which is what the majority of people are going to do. You get the one random stat back of the physical, one random stat of the mental. But if you get features like, let's say the person that makes the camp, like let's say they get a feature in camp that makes it a bit more cozy, maybe you get two mental stats back. So basically, like in the beginning of the game, you get less stats back, but then over once you all level up a bit more and you've got more features and whatnot, then eventually you get more stats back. But that's probably going to coincide with you going up against stronger foes, and thus your stats are going to be hit more regularly. Nice. My damn internet keeps cutting out, but I'm liking what I'm able to hear. Thank you. Thank you. So yeah, there's that. When it comes to combat, my idea right now is when it comes to initiative, you re-roll every single round. And I know for people that have only ever played 5e, that sounds ridiculous, but it's not going to be. So in 5e, how it typically works is beginning of initiative, everybody rolls their initiative, and that's the end of story. But that has not always been the case historically. In fact, in the beginning of the game, it was basically the players versus the monsters initiative. So one person from the player's side would roll their initiative, and then boom, it's the players, all going on this initiative, and the monsters going on that initiative. So I was thinking of going down along that line, but then I realized I might still have that as like I might have like a back section of like popular house homebrew rules here. But I think the core initiative system is going to be the monsters always act on X initiative. So like let's say I put up the skeleton. The skeleton always acts on X initiative. Then what I'll do is everybody at the beginning of the round rolls to see where they place themselves up against that initiative, because then it's still partially group orientated depending on how you roll. If you beat the monster's initiative, then whoever beat the monster's initiative acts as one, then it'll be the monster, and then it'll be whoever rolled less against the monster. And the reason why I'm going with that system is because that will allow for a bunch of unique dynamic ways on interacting with the game. There'll be ways to increase your own initiative. There'll be ways to increase your homie's initiative. There'll be ways to decrease the enemy's initiative. And also, very importantly, the enemies will have ways to, buff their own initiative, and the enemies will have ways to debuff your initiative. So I think that there's a lot of dynamicism to having the initiative be tied just flatly for the monster, and then you roll against it each round. And that's also very important, is the each round thing, because if it's only once, then it's not that dynamic, right? It literally just comes down to a single roll. But over the course of a combat, if an enemy's able to wear down your initiative, or you're able to wear down the enemy's initiative, then you constantly keep getting above them or behind them. That, I think, is truly intriguing and worthwhile. How will you be doing death saves, or is later on? Or will you be explaining that later on? I will be explaining that in just a moment. Also, will surprise rounds be the same? How will that work? My idea for surprise rounds is, right now, surprise round is whoever is surprised just doesn't get to act. Simple as that. Simple as that. So, in regards of death saves, here is I actually don't have this written down yet. I was going to write this down. Would it be in combat? Damage and death. Dillionaire with the 199 and thumbs up. Dillionaire, thank you so very much, Dillionaire. Keeping me off the streets for just another day. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Any and every little bit helps, I promise you that. Alrighty. So because HP, it's no longer HP, right? This is no longer, oh, there we go. My shirt's totally see-through now. So because the system isn't HP, where you just have the arbitrarily HP tied to the terrible stat of con, instead all of your stats are down to zero, or all are different. That means the game is going to operate differently. So what I currently have is, when a stat hits 0, you are broken. Now, this is very important, because when a stat hits 0 and is broken, then you will roll on an individual table depending on what broke you. So, for example, if the giant goes up and bonks you on the noggin and your strength goes down to 0, you are broken. And then you would roll on a chart. That chart would determine what happened to you. Because it was a blunt weapon that made you break, then you would roll on the blunt weapon table, because blunt's always going to be doing strength damage. But it's not natively going to be different than, let's say, the ghost. The ghost, or let's say the banshee. The banshee lets out a hailing wail and affects your sanity, and your wits drop down, or your will drops down to 0. That you're going to roll on a separate table. You're going to roll on the psychic table. And what I currently have right now is, for some reason I don't have it here. Where would I have it? It is in rest. Dead and broken. I got another section. So when it comes to being dead, you're broken when your stat hits 0, meaning that it's going to be entirely dependent on that table. Some tables are going to be natively more scary than others. Like the psychic ones are probably going to be more scary. The acid one is presumably going to be a lot more scary, because getting broken with acid is presumably more terrifying than being broken with blunt weapons, let's say, right? And what I currently have right now is whatever this table says, this table could say that your personality drops some as well, or it could say that you can't, your arm is broken for X amount of time, or it could say, you got a nasty scar, whatever it says, right? It says whatever it says. What I currently have is, you are dead if 3 of your stats hit 0, meaning you're broken in 3 different ways, or if a stat hits a negative. Now, I currently have -5, but I might change that. I'm going to have to playtest this, which I'm a little bit a ways away from playtesting this. Uh, because natively, I don't like death saving throws. I think death saving throws are incredibly boring. Death saving throws just offer no interaction at all whatsoever. It's not intriguing to me. But with this system, basically, if you're broken there and you're like laying down, then all of a sudden the monster goes and just stomps the crap out of you, eventually you're gonna die. And also, consequently, if you're going against a foe that does numerous effects, then you can die that way as well. If the dragon does its fiery breath and breaks your strength and agility with its breath weapon, and then all of a sudden it lets out a horrible scream that breaks your personality, then you're dead. So I'm kind of liking this stats for HP system that allows for a bit more dynamicism. And it allows for dynamicism not only from the players, but from the enemy side as well. That's what I'm really liking about this. So I'm drafting up ideas for monsters, and monsters just don't always do physical damage, right? Because, for example, being the dragon. We always think of the dragon as, oh, the dragon, slaps you and the dragon breathes fire on you. Yeah, but think of the psychological toll of fighting a dragon, right? The dragon letting out a horrendous scream in your face is going to affect your will. The dragon letting out this like noxious fume in the air, maybe affects your personality to some degree. List goes on and on. List goes on and on and on. So that's currently what I have for that. Hoo-wee. Alrighty. Yeah, so I've been putting into work on that. I've been working on this for the past few days. I've gotten a bunch of writing in. And it's funny, I've already got the core design of the game. The real heavy writing I'm gonna have to be doing here is spells and like the leveling up feats. Because I want leveling up to be more dynamic than I want leveling up to not just be, oh, I automatically get this feature that I chose at level 1. I don't want it to be like 5e, where basically, because my choice at level 1, I now am always going down this line. Because I want it to be a little bit more dynamic. So there's going to be what I'm calling them journeys right now. And these journeys will be leveled traits that you get. So, for example, being the fighter at level 1, you're just a fighter like everyone else. But then eventually, as you level up, then you'll get to progress down different journeys. So right now I currently have Journey of the Wild One, which makes you more like a barbarian. Journey of the Warrior, which makes you more of, like a DPS kind of person. And Journey of the Defender being... Oh, I'm totally blocking this on OBS. And Journey of the Defender being more like a like heavily armed and defensive type thing. And I'm gonna have more too. I'm just currently working on them. But what I want is not only there to be these for your classes, but I'm gonna have general journeys as well, general feats and traits, and those traits will directly tie back into the core gameplay loop. There will be things that pertain to exploring the world. There will be things that tie to dungeon delving. There will be things that tie to, social interaction with the NPCs of the world. So, like, for example, is, like, I've already written one down, initiative. So, like, I'm going to have some sort of initiative journey where it is, like, maybe at the first rank of it, you can burn X agility to increase your thing, and then maybe at the very, very end of it, it will be like as you rank up this multi-faceted trait here. Maybe the very last one will be when you burn any agility, you automatically go above, like the monster kind of thing. So like I want to reward people for delving deep into one feat tree, and then I also want to reward people that want to mix and match. Maybe you want to pick up the ambidextrous feature. Maybe you want to pick up the fishing feature, the making camp feature, the cooking feature, the social battle feature. That's another thing too. Is right now I've currently got in my head that I want there to be some sort of social battle thing where basically if you so choose to and want to engage with, you can, instead of just having it come down to a simple dice roll, you can have some sort of dynamic social combat system with like the PCs versus the DM kind of thing, where it's basically like you have an offensive phase and then you have a defensive phase of, oh hey, I do witty retort, and they reply with like a witty comeback, and then they do a passive aggressive tone versus like I'm gonna be working on that kind of thing. So I'm really looking forward to that. That's very cool. I actually would love to play a game with these rules. Sounds very different and entertaining. Thank you. I will certainly be playtesting this once I get everything up and running. How far off do you think it is from testing? Will you be making it public for people to try when it is? Absolutely. So, mind you, I'm only... let me take a look here. I'm only 3,000 words into this thing. I am not going to feel comfortable releasing it until it's like another 3,000 maybe, because one, I've got all the rulings and rules in my head. It's just I have to transcribe them into things that people can actually read. So that's going to take a little bit of time, but also very importantly is just honestly the spells and feats. Like the gameplay, I think I've already got like a decent amount of it in, like rest. Like looking at this rest rules here, I've barely got anything written down, but you obviously can see it, right? You can see the thing of, oh, you need to rest, once every 6 turns in a dungeon. You need to rest once a day when traveling. Like that's very, very simple and bare bones, but I'm obviously going to, expand that a little bit more, and I'm going to have all that fun jazz ready to go. Also, something I really want to add to the game is I don't want this to be generic, vanilla, bland, fits in anywhere, anytime with anything. So I want this tabletop role-playing game to tell a story of this particular world. That's the hardest part, haha. I took a creative writing class in college, and putting my ideas into words was very hard for me. Thankfully for me, it's not very hard. It's just time consuming, right? Like I could absolutely, I'm going to be writing this down. As you can already see, I've already started. It's just, it just takes a little bit of time. So what do I mean by I don't want this to be generic, vanilla, blasé affair? So when you go to read a tabletop role-playing game system, either it is very indicative of the world that you're going to be running it in, or it's not. I personally think that the rules should highlight the kind of world that the game's going to be. And so to that degree, as I mentioned before to you all, in regards of the dying thing, you die if 3 of your stats are reduced to 0, or you go to a negative number. I currently have -5, but I might switch that up. I'm going to figure that all out relatively soon. But the thing about dying is not the end in this game. So, in my mind, in this game system, you have a number of deaths allotted to you. And currently, right now, in my mind, you have 3 deaths allotted to you. Now, what that means is when you die, a god will all of a sudden beam down to catch your soul and say, hey, I'm willing to bring you back at a cost. And right now I've got a very, very arbitrary thing of that. Like Fire, goddess of the sun. If a strong spirit dies under the gaze of the sun, let me pull this up here. If a strong spirit dies under the gaze of the sun, she offers a return to life under one of the following conditions. You ritually sacrifice an enemy of the sun by burning them alive under the sun. Ritually bathe in the light of the sun for 7 days straight with no obstruction from clothes, allowing others to witness your dedication to the sun. Take all the worldly possessions you had on you when you died and burn them under the light of the sun. Mark the top of your head with a tattoo of the sun. So those are just a few examples right there. And so one, that'll put a ticking time clock on characters. At some point, you're going to die, and your third death, and that's the end of story. But two, it allows there to be some sense of lethality, and there to be actual, ramifications. Because yeah, some of those don't sound too harsh, but ultimately, that's going to be a story to tell. You die, and Fire, the goddess of the sun, brings you back to life, and you're going to remember, oh man, that time where I had to be naked for a week straight and spend all day every day under the sun, like that sucked. I don't want to die again. Oh, that time I had to burn everything, so I could live, that sucked. But I think that'll be intriguing. I've been working on a homebrew campaign that I wanted to integrate horror and psychological warfare as much as combat, and I've been assuming I'd have to homebrew a lot of my own rules and mechanics. I like the sound of some of the Call of Cthulhu mechanics, but it isn't quite what I want. What I'm here to tell you is 5e, is probably not going to do it for you. I don't know how many rules you'd have to integrate into 5e to make it work in regards of horror and psychological warfare. It's just not designed for that. 5e is designed for epic heroism and trying to make heroes not heroes just doesn't work. You don't see in the Marvel movies, you don't see, or either Marvel or DC movies, you don't see Superman, going into a haunted house and freaking out, you know what I'm saying? It just doesn't work. It really isn't. When I DM, I choose fun and what makes sense over the rulebook. It wouldn't even be noticeable. So one, I want this thing of you dying and coming back to life 3 times. That's the end of story. But also, if you can see there, I've also got another little tidbit. If you want to be a cleric in this game system, you have to have already died. So that means if you start off a cleric at level 1, you roll into the campaign, you're level 1 cleric, that means you've already died once. So, for example, if you are a cleric under the direction here of Fire, goddess of the sun, you had to have been burned alive on an altar in the open when the sun crested the sky. So you come into the game having already been killed and brought back to life, but you have, the clerical powers of whatever you have. And that actually means that you now only have 2 more deaths to have throughout the adventuring career, because clerics are awesome like that. It wouldn't even be noticeable. Yep. So that's one portion of like world building, integrating with game mechanics that I want there in regards of like the cleric starts off with only 2 more deaths to have versus everyone else has 3 kind of thing. I plan on doing a bunch of write-ups about that, but like I said, I need to get the I'm going to be working on just like now I'm going to be working on the core set of rules, and then I'll be figuring out, okay, like what do I want here? Like, how am I going? Also, something I need to really, really sit down and consolidate with is figuring out what classes I want in the game. Because I'm going to sit down and, for these classes I have, I'm going to sit down and create their air quote subclasses, the journeys. The trademarked journeys that I'm going to be covering. So I'm figuring out what other classes I'm going to have, but I'll figure those out once I get through writing down all the journeys that I'm going to be having as well. And let's see here. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? So I'm gonna be working on that. The spells is gonna be a big thing. I'm not gonna have all the spells when I first start playtesting. I'm gonna update that as I go along. Because if you look at any tabletop role playing game system that has spells in it, the spells take up half the friggin' book. So I'm not too concerned about getting all the spells right and ready just yet. Let's see, the combat, as I mentioned, the combat's going to be relatively simple. You get your move in one action. That's the end of story. The initiative, you go either before the monster or after monster, and no ifs, ands, or buts. Morale, monsters have morale. There's going to be a horror insanity thing that affects you. The damage and death, already talked about. Travel time, travel and time. The day is split up into 4 sections. The dungeon is split into 10-minute rounds. Social interaction. There's going to be social combat, dynamic actions. Rest, you need a rest. Henchmen, followers, retainers, you get those. PC traits, the journeys. Dead and broken, you either die or you break, and breaking is going to depend on what type of damage you took and what stat was broken down to 0. XP and leveling. Right now I currently have gold because I like gold for, you go out to adventure. That's your motivation. That's your reason. You grab gold, you bring it back to town, you level up. I want that to be the gameplay loop. I want the XP earned to be rewarding exploration of the world. Crafting, I'm going to throw in some crafting at some point. The conditions do things to affect your character. Madness and sanity, your stats go up and down. You get buffs and debuffs. Deities and corruption, same thing. Deities and patrons, same thing. And the list goes on and on. And that's pretty much what I've got so far in regards to that. The journey path sounds so cool, like a perk tree almost in games that you can choose perks in different stats, but the farther down in one stat you go, the better the perks. Absolutely. I came here after looking for some help with Curse of Strahd, by the way. Thank you for the videos. They helped me a lot, especially with Velaki. Thank you. I am the #1 Curse of Strahd YouTuber that covers running the modules nearly as written. Because every other Curse of Strahd YouTuber was like, hey, this part sucks. Let me make it better by going in the exact different direction. Will there be playable non-human races, and would these be a class of their own? So, Colin, I have not determined that yet. What I am going to tell you is there isn't going to be racial stats. Like, it's not going to be like, oh, if you choose the human, you get a +1 to this, but then you also get another feed. No, I'm not doing that. Screw that. I'm either going to just be analogous and say, hey, like, for whatever game you want to play, every race is the same. I don't care. Or it's going to be classic BX style of classes race. I have not decided that yet. Because ultimately, like, I just don't want there to be, like, I just personally don't want to fiddle around with, oh, hey, if you're an orc, you get a +1 to that, but then you get a so-and-so, then da-da-da, this and that. I don't want to deal with that. I'd rather just have it be everyone is equal or everyone is super-duper separate. Same Abyssal running that module this year about 2 months ago. I watched almost all his vids. Definitely a big help. Thank you. Yeah, so what I was thinking is, if I go down the route of like the classes race thing, then I could do some various fun things with that, right? Like if I have the elf, then the journey you have as an elf could be like you lean in more toward the martial, you lean in more toward the caster, you go straight down the middle and you're a true Gish. If you have, let's say, a dragonborn, then you could be the journey of the dragon warrior, or the journey of the dragon knight, or the journey of the so-and-so. Like, I could have a lot of fun with that. And then ultimately, I could just, like, not care about that too, right? I could just say, like, I could just have, like, the journey of the the Eldritch Fighter or whatever, and that's the elf. And then when it comes to Dragonborn, it could be the journey of the dragon aspect, kind of, so on and so forth. I think it'd be cool that different races start with one simple start in a journey path depending on the race. I think it would be cool that different races start with one simple start in journey. Yeah, I mean, ultimately, so the class you pick is evident from level 1. You're going to have either access to features or access to, like the fighter is the most boring one. The fighter straight up doesn't have any cool features at level 1 other than they can use all weapons and use all armor. But then once they level up, then their features start showing. It'd be the same with, like if you're the Dragonborn, you've got something special at level 1. If you're the elf, you've got something special at level 1. If you're the halfling, you've got something special at level 1. So, the list goes on and on. I still have not ultimately decided on that yet. I don't need to decide that right away. Like, I'm going to do the core rules and like these like core few classes. And then I'll figure out, oh, hey, like what's the general consensus? What do people want here? Like a great example is like, as mentioned with the Dragonborn thing, the Dragonborn could be like, you could lean more to being like a Dragonborn monk or a Dragonborn, knight or a Dragonborn, I don't know what the heck else. Maybe like, I don't know, I'd figure out something. And then like at halfling, like as a halfling, you could lean in toward being more of a thief, more of an assassin, more of a, so on and so forth. There's a lot of ways you could lean in. And as mentioned before, this game isn't just about combat, because I don't want this to be just a flat out combat simulator. There is the huge aspect of the journey itself. That's kind of why I'm leaning toward journey of. Because as you're exploring around the world, you need those, what do you call those things? For the traveling around the world, you need those party roles. You need people that are good at setting up camp. You need people that are good at exploring the wilderness. You need people that are good at foraging. You need people that are good at scouting. You need these things. Otherwise, cool, you're great at combat, but if you get lost in the wilderness, you're screwed. Like, oh yeah, it's cool that you can go, like, once you're in the dungeon, you're set, but how are you going to get to the dungeon in the first place if, you keep on running out of food? Use Thaco just to be that guy. Journey Master should be the new name of the DM. Ooh, Journey Master. That's actually pretty... Josh, I'm running that down. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Journey Master. Oh, that's pretty freaking good. Journey Master. That's not bad. It's not bad. Wrote that down. Yo, I love that. Yeah, because I obviously don't want to. I don't want it to be game master or dungeon master. I want it to be a little bit different. But journey master, that's good. That's good. That's good right there. And ultimately, like right now, the current name that I've got, like the two code names that I got are The Darkness Below and Dark and Brighter. But I might do something with Journey. I might do something with that. But once again, the name is irrelevant right now. I just need to start, working on the mechanics. That's the number one thing I've got to work on here. Halfway to playtest. Once you said you haven't gotten a name picked out for the DM, I've been thinking the whole time. Why, thank you. See? Multiple heads are better than one here. Which is why most things aren't created by a single person. Most things are created by a group. Most things. So, and also, I've also got some notes written down here as well. Because, I'll be, watching TV or, writing something else, and then I'll have, a little notebook on the side here. So currently, my schools of magic are life, death, blood, fire, ice, earth, change, and weird. Those are currently my 10 classes, or 10 schools of magic. That's fair. But once again, need to hash out the core rules, need to play test it, need to put it out there, need to get the critiques. The good thing about me is I can actually take critiques. I know all the time us poor YouTubers get people sliding our DMs telling us we suck and that puts us down. But here's the thing, I know I suck. So I am perfectly fine getting some feedback. The real thing is when it comes to feedback, I can't just be told it sucks. It needs to be told. I need to be told it sucks because of X, Y, and Z. You know we're all about the weird magic. Yeah, my idea behind weird magic is like that's gonna be like kind of the more like warlocky, otherworldly stuff. Maybe like witchy stuff as well. And mind you, I love witches, so I'm going to incorporate a witch in the game. I'm more than willing to bet I'm going to make witch its own class. I just haven't gotten into it yet. But I really love witches. I think schools of magic are so cool. Sad with 5e that they really aren't that relevant. Yeah, so Josh, that's the thing is in my system, you don't like you as a mage, you can't just cast every single spell. What I have is when you level up, you get to choose what schools you're leveling up in. So if you are if you're a I'm trying to think, if you're a blood mage, then you can't just randomly cast ice spells willy-nilly. Because ultimately that's how 5e works. 5e works, it doesn't matter what kind of, wizard you are. You can cast anything at any time. It doesn't matter. But in my system, it'll be when your journey, when you're journeying as a blood mage and you're going down your journey, your blood mage tree there, you can't just randomly, get whatever. You can diversify if you so choose by, putting your hands in multiple people's pies, but that means that you won't be able to cast the high level stuff. Like, yeah, if you want to be a blood, fire, and ice mage, cool for you. You get a cool variety of spells. But that means that you won't be able to cast the high tier, the blood stuff or the fire or the ice stuff. Yeah, Wizards are just broken in that sense. It's they obviously wanted to be just a grab bag of, hey, you can do anything at any time. Yay. Which I'm not a personal fan of. I think you should keep to a certain theme. So that's another important distinction of mine is I like when someone says, "Oh, I'm a X, mage," then you should be like, "Oh yeah, I'm an X mage. Like I'm an Earth mage, right? Like me, I'm an Earth mage. I'm not like that loser that is a blood, fire, and ice mage. No, I'm an Earth mage. My journey into being an Earth mage has taken me this far," kind of thing. Alrighty. So yeah, once again, it's gonna take a little bit of time. I'm working on other things and other adventures and whatever else and all my other content. A spell mixing system would be so cool, but possibly hard to make it in a simplified way that doesn't bog things down. Yeah, so in my system, it's gonna be basically, you have your tier 1 of the blood spells. You have your tier ones, twos, threes, and however far it goes of those spells. And basically, if you were to divest yourself into a single one, then you obviously go up the ranks. But if you choose to, if you want to like split apart, then you're air quote multi-classing in a sense. You know, going back to the if you're a blood and fire mage, then you are going to be a jack of those two, right? You're not going to be the best in any one of them, but you'll still have, you know, a cool little selection here of blood spells, of fire spells, things like that. But, you know, gonna take a little bit of time. Lots to write, lots to write. Alrighty. I have to head out, buddy. It looks good. I'll be on the lookout for more updates. Very interested. Thank you, Abyssal. Like I said, I'll be making updates about it, you know, either on the Discord or on YouTube. Once I actually have, like, solidified things and I actually, you know, convert the this Word document into a PDF, then absolutely I'm gonna be putting it out there. Because I'm not just gonna send out a Word document to everybody. That'd be ugly as sin. I'm actually gonna make a PDF for it. So I'll definitely do that in the future. But thank you. So now, in regards of the future of D&D. By the way, how long have I been streaming for? Started at, what, 2:45? So I've been going for an hour. Okay. Alrighty. So, when it comes to the future of D&D, in regards of everybody and me, let's first start off with everybody, I guess. 5e clones incoming. So, several companies have stated that, you know, they're going to put their flag in the ground and shout out to the heavens, we're making our own D&D, and we're going to make it with an OGL. We're not going to pull off this stunt that you pulled off, Wizards. And thus, we're going to get a bevy of 5e clones. And those 5e clones are basically going to skirt the line of what is 5e and what isn't. And basically they're going to try and make them compatible to work with everybody. And also I double tapped the S on clones there. And what I think is going to end up happening is we're going to get like 2 major 5e clones. That's what I think is going to happen. We're going to get 2 major 5e clones. And ultimately, I think people are going to sit there and be like, why would I spend money to play the same game? And I'm actually really terrified about that because I think like some of these companies are going to divert some time, money, and effort into these clones. And then I think a lot of people are going to just sit there and be like, well, I've already paid Wizards, even if I am on team never give Wizards of the Coast any money ever again, you still have the books, you know what I'm saying? Why would you sit there and spend more money to play the same game? So I'm a little bit worried about those companies and individuals that are making those 5e clones because, yeah, Wizards bad, but spending money is bad too. and a lot of people can't afford to spend the money. So I'm very glass half empty on the whole 5e clones working out thing. Alrighty, next up, in regards of making future D&D content. So, here's the bottom line is money. That's the bottom line of everything in life is money. There is so many D&D content creators that would straight up lose their ability to create content and function in the way that they've been living if they no longer produced content for D&D. And that's what made this whole OGL fiasco scary for many of the D&D content creators. Their future was in jeopardy. Whether that be the people that make videos or make, things in the DMs Guild or whatever. A bunch of content creators' hopes and dreams were almost shattered because of the OGL fiasco. And so many of them, in fact, not so many of them, but some of them stated that they didn't want to make content for D&D anymore. But then, with this whole OGL capitulation, they sat down and said, okay, we're going to scrap everything. We're going to renege on everything that we just said over the past month. We're going to keep it as is. And now we are seeing people slowly crawl back to Wizards of the Coast and making content for them. And that's not surprising in any way, shape, or form. I knew that was going to happen as soon as anything came out of anything. And when you know something is coming out, there is a heist book coming out. A book about heist, the key to the Golden Vaults. Keys to the Golden Vault, something like that. I haven't actually looked that hard. And I just don't feel interested in covering it. And that's so sad that I don't feel like it, because I cut my teeth on D&D Wizards of the Coast. And now I just feel so not enthralled, inspired to create content for them anymore. I really don't. But at the same time, if I make video on X or video on D&D, D&D is going to get the views. So that sucks. Overboard, what's up, everyone? How's it going, Overboard? So, I genuinely don't know. What I am going to say is I just don't feel like spending money on Wizards of the Coast. I really don't. I really, really don't feel like spending any more money on Wizards of the Coast. Because, one, I'm poor. But two, I just don't feel like it anyway. And, it sucks. It really does. Because I like adventures. I like seeing how gritty they are. I agree. It absolutely sucks. But at the same time, like I said, I'm not gonna buy the book. And also, I know for a fact Wizards of the Coast isn't going to give me the frickin' books, because Wizards of the Coast hasn't given me anything ever. Even though I've done so much for Wizards of the Coast, I get nothing in return. But that's fine. Howdy, Overboard. See how greedy they are. I agree. Yeah. So, I'll tell you what. I would certainly make some videos about it if I got the books for free, but I'm not getting the books for free. because the whole reason I made all of my module guide series on all the modules that I've covered so far is because I want to help people run these awesome adventures. But I don't feel like the new content is awesome. And two, I don't want to I also don't want to encourage people to buy things that I don't think are awesome. And I just have my suspicions that a book about a heist in D&D 5e isn't going to be awesome, because D&D isn't about heist. At least 5e isn't. Hi, Mr. T, or is it no fun? How's it going? How to RPG? How to RPG? Tremendously large D&D YouTuber up in here. How's it going? Yeah, so my Thursdays have finally opened up. Like, literally for, I don't even know how long it was. For like 6 some odd months, maybe 7, 8 months or something like that. My Thursdays were always booked up by something. But now they are free. Ugh. Now I've got more of a set of a consistent schedule, so I'll try and do some Some good old DM roundtables. I think that could be fun. Talking with everyone, asking the hard-hitting questions about everything and anything and everything. Yo, how to? I love your vids. Heck yeah. Heck yeah. So, LOE cracked me up. I'm looking forward to hanging out again. Heck yeah. Thank you. So, yeah, in regards of me making content, I don't feel inspired. My keyboard is acting up. Sadly. It sucks because I want to like Wizard of the Coast D&D. It's just I just there's several things about whoa $10 from Overboard. Here's to you trying to figure out what to do next. Agree with not giving wizards any more money. These damn red wizards of Thay. Thank you so much, Overboard, keeping me off the streets for another day. Thank you so very much. Thank you, thank you. Hell yeah, Overboard, that means a ton, let me tell you. $10 goes an incredibly long way for me. I'm not gonna lie. As a friendly reminder, I am incredibly poor, so I know how to stretch a dollar. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So, yeah, it's tough. I don't want to, like, right now, I just don't feel like giving Wizard of the Coast money, not even necessarily over the OGL fiasco, but just because of the quality of their content. I genuinely feel like the last bunch of releases haven't been worth the money. Make your own stuff, buddy. System agnostic. No problem. Thank you. Thank you. Fred, I'm actually, one, making my own tabletop role-playing game, but two, I'm also writing up several adventures, and those adventures are basically my idea is I'm going to make them for the OSR, but then, like, once I get done writing them, then I'll make them, either system agnostic, or I will go back and, write them for other systems. How to, no fun, are two of the best. Chris Strahd, totally understand the sour taste. Yeah, like, for me personally, per example, is, mentioning Curse of Strahd here. Curse of Strahd is written as an adventure, right? When you read Curse of Strahd, the book, it has no sense of, all right, your players go from scene 1 to scene 2, and then from scene 2 to scene 3, and when they get to scene 3, then they totally talk to this person leads them to scene 4. It truly is a sandbox adventure. And I personally prefer written adventures over written stories. But unfortunately, Wizard of the Coast is not taking that line of thinking. Wizard of the Coast is now going down the line of writing stories versus writing adventures. My own RP game gonna be fantasy? Yes, this first one, mind you. So, because Loriander, as a friendly reminder, Loriander is on my first subscriber ever. I have now, let me just double check here. I have 12,189 subscribers, and Loriander here is number 1. My day 1 OG up in here. So yeah, my first one, my first RPG here, as I sift through freaking 27 tabs because I've only got the one monitor because once again I'm poor. Oh my gosh, where the frick? Here we go. So many things to pour through here. Yeah, so my first RPG here is fantasy. I'm kind of going for a little bit more gritty, a little bit more darker, but still fun times to be had. But mind you, I do in fact have I've listed a bunch of other games that I want to work on, but those are way down the pipeline. I am going to work on those later. Right now, I'm currently working on Codename Horrors Below, or other codename Dark and Brighter. Still haven't figured out the name yet, but got a bunch of other ideas in mind. Got a bunch of other ones. Lorander, the OG. I 100% agree. They really force a story in the last few big campaigns. TOA is another one where it's an adventure. Yes. And TOA, once again, my favorite of the adventure modules. TOA is truly an adventure. They say, here, your players get dropped off in a location. Go. And what I have personally found is the difference between running an adventure versus running a story is when you run a story, the players try to force themselves into the story, versus when you run an adventure, the adventure becomes the player's story. Instead of there being somewhat of a friction, instead it is a conjoining. When you run an open adventure, the players make the adventure their own. When your players run a story, when you run a story for your players, the story pushes the players in a way. And that's why I love Curse of Strahd. That's why I love Tomb of Annihilation. I would enjoy doing a RP-based pirate IRP in semi-historical life fantasy. That is actually one of my little things there, as you can see. One of my game designs. I'm kind of switching on what like it's gonna be is it's all hands on deck. And my idea for that one is going to be like you're a ship crew. I still haven't decided if that's going to be like an RPG system or if that's going to be a board game or a war game. I don't know yet. Maybe, I mean, obviously I could split it and I could have an RPG system and then I could have a board game system, but I've got a lot of ideas cooking. I got a lot of ideas cooking, but I gotta hit them one at a time. And let me tell you, like I said, I'm already 3,000 words into my newest project. I'm going to be splashing way more into that. That'll be a fun time all around. I'm trying to think of like what I'm going to work on next after Horrors Below. Like in the near future, in the air quote future, I got no idea what I'd be working on next. But one of my ideas for a tabletop role-playing game system would be instead of you being adventurers, you are shop owners in a town full of adventurers, and the RPG would essentially be like, instead of you leveling up like combat skills, it'd be you leveling up barter skills, or you leveling up like being able to get better quality gear or whatever, getting, whatever, making the shop better, things like that. I've got an idea for like a shopkeeper RPG, which I think could be fun. I've got a idea in mind for making a modern post-apocalypse, but like somehow still funny and lighthearted. Another Day in Paradise. There, that one would be like just scrounging around, and mind you, it'd be like multiple apocalypses. So like there was zombies and there was nukes and there was I don't know what like maybe a solar flare, things like that. I've got a lot of ideas. I just need to write them all down. Also had an idea to do a roguelite role-playing system. Roguelite, huh? Trying to think. Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be impossible. Adventurers Guildmaster, the RPG. Is that an actual thing? Is that an actual thing? Because, like, I kind of, once again, I kind of had, like, some sort of idea on that as well. I see Idle Adventure Guildmaster. I assume that's, like, some sort of whatever. I see Guildmaster and Indie Adventure RPG. That's a... all I'm seeing is video games, so maybe there's hope. Maybe I could. Maybe there's a. When your character resets, yeah. That shopkeeper sounds fun. Is there a sign out front saying no shoes, no shirt, no fun allowed? No, your shopkeeper idea sparked it. Yeah. Like, like I said, like I got so many ideas, and like my main problem is I'm only one me. If I could just split myself, if I could just have two of me working on separate projects, I'd be so happy. I'd be oh so happy. Adventure Guildmaster RPG. Running a guild of adventurers. I got too many ideas, not enough time. Ugh, it's so hard. Ugh, why can't I just split myself already? It's so annoying. Yeah, here's what it is. Is what it is. Alrighty. And let's see here. Moving on to my public games. Let me see if I can drag something in here real quick. Lax. Public. There we go. There we go. Alrighty, for those of you that do not know and you haven't checked out the Discord or whatever, I'm going to be running some public games. I am going to be running these public games over there on my Discord. I'm going to be making posts about them. I'll make a video about it. My plan was, because Wizard of the Coast has been running a clown fiesta recently, I am going to run a clown fiesta of my own. I'm going to be running some Wild Beyond the Witchlight, just Witchlight Carnival games, and then Carnival of the Damned, a 0th level death funnel. So basically split it up between Happy-Go-Lucky Carnival side and Death and Despair Carnival side. You know, light and dark, soft versus heavy, things like that. I'm going to be running, like I said, I've already got it posted up in the Discord. I'm going to be making more posts about it. I'll be making a video about it, you know, keeping everyone in touch. So if you want to join my public games, feel free to join them. I'm going to be planning on running some more as well. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm gonna run some public games. So if you want to join in on some games, then feel free to join in. Join the Discord, link down below. Fun times to be had. I see that I've already got a decent amount of people saying that they'll show up, so I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all there is to say about that. I'm running public games. Is I'm gonna be running them. I'll have more dates posted up in the future relatively soon. Alrighty. I'll have to join later. I'm driving right now for sure. I'm gonna be, the first game will be on the 5th, and then it'll continue on till I'm gonna be running on the 5th, the 6th, the 9th, the 10th, and I'm gonna be running more. I just need to like solidify my schedule because I'm like mostly certain of what it's gonna happen. But I'll have those updated and I'll post them up. You know, like I said, I'm gonna be releasing a video about it probably tomorrow. So yeah, stay tuned for all that fun jazz. God dang, it's so annoying having to all these I see all these cool people with two monitors that are able to like put things on one side and put one things on the other, and I can't do that. It's so awful. It's so terrible. I hate it. Ugh. How much does it cost? It is free 99. It is $0 and 0 cents. Free to show up, free to play. Free carnival games all around. Mind you, sometimes I do act as a pro DM. I have been paid to DM on numerous occasions. I'm just not doing it for these public games because I just want to run some games for my awesome viewers. $3.99. No, it's free 99. $0. $0 and 0 cents. Free. It only cost you admission. It only cost you the time to show up. That's all it takes. It only costs what you're willing to put in. Okay. Perfect. Yeah. Okay. Um. Hmm. Okay. Alrighty. So, looking around at everything else, I'm pretty stoked for the future here. I'm working hard on my RPG system. I'm gonna be making some videos about that because I'm gonna be playtesting that for sure. I want to get some feedback. I want to figure out how people are feeling about everything in regards of everything. A lot of fun things going on to be had. But other than that, there really isn't that much more to say. I mean, D&D's future is still going. We've already seen that Paizo, or some company, said that they're still going to make content for 5e, which took a lot of steam out of the Hate Was the Coast bandwagon. So, which I suspect was going to happen. We knew that people were going to go back to Was the Coast D&D. The real question will be like, what happens when 1 D&D comes out? Because so far the changes to 1 D&D have been not significant enough to warrant the price of admission. Like I personally would not spend $50 to get a new exhaustion rule set and change up when people get their features from level 5 to level 7. I personally wouldn't spend $50 on that. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see about that. We haven't gotten any news about 1D&D recently though, because the whole GL fiasco. They've been smart enough not to try and put anything out. But I imagine that they'll put out something in like, a month. I imagine they'll slowly test the waters. People always go back to their abusers. You know, it's the sad truth of it, really. Like I said before. Sorry I had to tune out. I'm back. Welcome back. The sad truth of the matter is, like I said, human beings hate two things. They hate the way things are, and they hate change. Right? Just ultimately the nature of the beast. I still haven't created a character for my Call of Cthulhu campaign next week. Ugh. I bought the player's handbook on TTRPG, but haven't had the time to look through it. Thankfully, character creation is relatively simple. I will actually link to you a excellent video on creating characters by a prominent figure of the RPG community, Seth Skorkowski. He's got an excellent guide on Call of Cthulhu, running it, playing it, doing all that fun jazz. He covers running a bunch of the adventure modules for Call of Cthulhu, or I guess scenarios in this case. But I would recommend. I'm going to link the video here. That is his character creation guide there. It's pretty good stuff. As mentioned before, the whole character creation for Call of Cthulhu thing is don't be an super duper expert in one thing, but don't be a jack of all trades in everything. Be like semi decent at a few things, like 3 to 6 things. Be like, yeah, you're pretty good at that. Like, oh, you're a driver. Oh, you read hieroglyphs or whatever. Oh, you can do whatever. Do things like that. Don't be like, I pump all my stats into one thing, because then if that one thing doesn't happen, then it sucks. It's just one of those things. Also, very importantly, is in Call of Cthulhu it is a classless, levelless system, right? You don't level up per se, but what you do is, if you are running a full-blown campaign, your stats will increase over time, and how that works is, the worse your stat is, the easier it is to level it up in between investigations. Because during an investigation, if you succeed on a roll, then you make a little checkbox next to it. And then at the end of the investigation, then you will roll. And how that roll works is, if you fail the roll, then your stat increases. Now that sounds very, doesn't make sense at first, right? Why would your stat increase if you fail? Well, it's quite simple. That means that the better you are at it, the harder it is to get it to be better. So if you are, let's say, your driving skill is 50-50, like you have 50 in the stat, that means when you go roll that D100, you have a 50-50 shot of that stat increasing. But if your stat is now 80, then you would only have a 20% chance of getting it to be higher. Which I think is actually a perfectly fan-freaking-tastic way of getting your stats to increase in a classless and levelless system. But at the same time, you need to have overcome it in the first place. So if you have a stat that's so incredibly low, if you have a stat that's only like a 5% chance of ever succeeding, you're more than likely never going to get it to increase, because you're more than likely never going to get it to succeed. So I really like that system of, you have to actually use the stat to get it to be better, meaning that if you've only got like a 5% chance, it's never going to go up. If you start off with like a 90 in a skill, which I'm trying to remember, I don't think you can start with a 90, but I wouldn't recommend starting with a 90 anyway, then the 90 is more than likely never going to go up. I personally, it's weird, I agree with the whole D&D thing. I have a ton of D&D miniatures that I know and love, plus all the 5e content. I actually love the rule set, but probably a little bit, but there probably is a little bit of comfort. Yeah, there absolutely is, right? I personally don't believe that 5e is the best game system in town or around. Just due to my personal preferences, I personally prefer less rules over more rules. I personally prefer, more adventurous versus more heroic, things like that. Bad timing since I just joined back, but I have to go enjoy the stream, and I'm very excited for the games on the 9th and 10th. Heck yeah, Josh. Heck yeah. 9th and the 10th. You're going to play both of them, huh? You're going to get a very stark contrast of happy-go-lucky sunshine and then not so happy-go-lucky sunshine. Gotta do it. Heck yeah. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to it. Alrighty. Let's see. What else do I got going on around here? Anything else? I mean, I'm kind of like just staring at my like Word document there, and I'm like, man, I want to write some more. I really want to, sit down and like get to work, craft my thing. It sucks because, I just need to sit down and just, I need to just crack it all down. I need to start writing down all my stuff for my stuff. Alrighty. Well, I'll tell you what. I think I'm going to go for another 4 minutes here. Close it out at 4:30 PST here. So if anyone has any questions, comments, concerns, gripes, moans, or complaints, feel free to voice them. If you've got anything about anything, feel free to ask. I'm here to listen. I'm here to explain my rhyme and reason. I'm here to listen to you complain about what's going on in your stuff. I'm here for it. So feel free. Feel free. Oh man. Oh man, oh me, oh my. What do I gotta like? What's the next big thing I'm gonna start writing on today? Oh, also, something I really want to emphasize too is my inventory system for my system is actually going to be like inventory slot based. So it'll just be really nice and simple. Like instead of it just being an arbitrary, I can carry 120 pounds or whatever. It's going to be like, oh hey, you have X number of inventory slots. This object that you grab is worth 1 inventory slot. Cool. Very. I want to keep it very tight, small numbers there. Don't want to make it too complicated, too extravagant there. And also that lets me play around with some features too, because one trait that I want is basically like if let's say you pick up an item and that item is like a half a item slot, then maybe I could get you like there's an adventurous trait or journey whatever that like lets you like it's like like a pack rat, you get to reduce it down to a quarter size kind of thing. So instead of like you could only carry 2 of these things that would equal up to 1 size, now you can carry up to 4 of them because you pack better or whatever, things like that. So that'll be fun too. I've got man. I just need to write this all down. I need to I need to get it all going because I need to play test this. I need to see what people enjoy. I need to see the mistakes I make. And also, very importantly, is I need people to tell me why. Because, gosh darn it, playtesting stuff is only good if people give you actual feedback. So many times people just sit there and be like, it sucked. Oh, I didn't like it. Tell me why. Tell me. Tell me so I can improve. But so many people are very anti, So there's a lot of people that are very conflict averse who don't tell you what you need to hear. Like, they'll be like, oh yeah, that's fine. It's like, no, I don't want just fine. Tell me what's up. Do you not like this inventory system? Do you not like this braking system? Do you not like this X system, this Y system? What's going on? Tell me. So I'll be looking forward to playtesting that and getting feedback for that. But we'll see. I'm at I've only just started a week ago, and heck, not even a week ago. What day is today? The 3rd? Actually, yeah, I must have started I started a week ago, and I've got 3,000 words in, but I've got a lot of conceptualization in there. Do you have any ideas of when you'll be doing playtesting? I'll be happy to give feedback. Absolutely, Mitchell. I want to say that I mean, if I really put my nose to the grind, maybe I'll be able to start playtesting this by the end of February. I don't know how much you caught, Mitchell, but I've got a lot of the core rules down in regards of how combat exploration and social interaction works. I've got a lot of that down, just the core concepts of it. So I'll need to go back and actually write it down in length, so it's not just broken, simple text. But two, far more importantly, is I need to work on the subclass system for all the classes, and I need to work on just writing down a bunch of spells, because as I'm sure you're well aware of, when it comes to any tabletop fantasy role-playing game system, spells take up half the freaking book. I'm not going to have all the spells ready when I start playtesting it. I'm just going to have a few core select ones, and then see how they really function. Indestructible sends his regards. Heck yeah. My boy, Indestructible. And Indestructible, he has... It's funny, me and him, we both bounce around the same amount of subscribers, but with this whole OGL stuff, he shot well way above me. I personally just wasn't taking the... I just wasn't putting myself out there with the whole OGL stuff, but he certainly did. So props to him. Awesome, yeah, I just popped in, so I missed that stuff, but sounds cool. I'll try to keep my eye out for the updates. Absolutely. Because, since all y'all are here, might as well show off some of the things that I got going on around here. So, basically, I've got, the core concepts of the game are as follows. You don't have HP in the traditional sense. You have HP for stats, or your stats are your HP. So, when someone goes to physically attack you, it hits your strength. When the Banshee does her wailing cry, it hits your personality. When the Wight goes up and grabs you and rips at your very soul, it's going up against your will. Things like that. Because I want to separate the HP. Haha, yo, what's up, Indestructible? What's up? What is Gucci, my killer? What's drugs, my dealer? I'm going over my own tabletop role-playing game system with no blackjack and no hookers. None at all. If you want those, homebrew them yourself. So one, stats are your HP. Two, the class system. Basically, when you level up, you choose how you level up versus automatically guaranteeing what you're going to get. Three, when it comes to equipment, you have an item slot-based inventory. It's not like, I can carry 120 pounds. No, it's you have inventory slots, and every item takes up either, right now I'm working in a quarter, half, 3/4, 1, or I'm working in increments like that. And then spells drain from Gucci, my killer. What WTF are we doing in the tabletop role-playing game community? What do you mean? You don't speak like this? What's Gucci, my killer? I've noticed that no one has done walkthroughs for the Sundering 5e prequel adventures. Murder in Baldur's Gate, Legacy of the Crystal Shard, etc. So I don't know about walkthroughs, but a fellow YouTuber has ran Legacy of the Crystal Shard. However, when he did so, he ran it and he changed the system like 3 times throughout the course of the gameplay. So I don't know if it's I don't know if I could call it an accurate walkthrough. But what I will say is I do actually like Legacy of the Crystal Shard. I have not touched Murder in Baldur's Gate. I read it a while ago, but I have not ran it. Have not gotten it to the table. Ah. So yeah, my system it's coming along. I've got the core of the game. Walkthroughs of official adventures feel a little against the spirit of a tabletop RPG adventure. So ultimately, Indestructible Boy, you may say that, but I cannot tell you how many people have come to me personally and said that, hey, I'm blind. Hey, I've got ADD, ADHD. I don't have time to prep. I don't have this. I don't have Y. I don't, etc., etc. I have so many people coming up to me thanking me for doing my walkthroughs of the tabletop role-playing game adventures because in addition to helping out, all the people that are blind, ADHD, what, etc., etc., also, it's just offering up advice of saying, hey, like I ran this part and it didn't work out for me. Maybe you can change it up doing X, Y, or Z differently. So I do get a lot of thanks for the things that I do. Scourge of the Sword Coast and Dead in Thay were also good. It just need a little tweaking. So I touched Dead in Thay because of the Tales from the Yawning Portal, but yeah. Oh, interesting. Another attempt at making your own RPG. Yes, indeed, Saurus. Saurus, how's it going? I am making my own RPG, in fact. This one is... What I'll say is this one is going to be... It basically is like... I'm trying to think like the way to compare it to other tabletop role-playing games. This tabletop role-playing game is basic Dungeons and Dragons meets Forbidden Lands. So old school D&D and Forbidden Lands mesh together, have a baby, and this is the system. That's what I'm going for. That's the kind of system I'm going for. Okay. Yeah, so I've got, like I said, I've got the core of the game down. It's just that I need to actually flesh it out. I need to make it pretty. Well, like, this is just a text document. I'm going to, at some point, put it in a PDF. But I need to, in regards to, like, making it pretty, like, for the combat, for example, I have initiative, agility check to go before or after the monster. Like, I could have it literally as simple as that in a rule book somewhere, but I think that it should be a little bit more descriptive in regards of how it's said. What's this one gonna be called? So I've got 2 working titles, 343. I currently have the working title of The Darkness Below. Wait, is it? My brain is bright right now. That might not even be it. No, so one working title is The Horrors Below, and number 2 is Dark and Brighter. But I'm not set in stone on any of these yet. I'm just kind of spitballing here. Interesting. Look forward to seeing how things go with it. I'm looking forward to it too, Source. Looking forward to it. I'm pretty happy with this one so far. I just love the whole stats as the HP thing versus just having the arbitrary HP because I hate Constitution. Constitution is a BS score. I freaking hate it. It's boring. It's worthless. It's mandatory. It's all these things. I hate it. So screw Constitution. Got rid of Constitution as a stat. Your stats are your HP. When you get attacked, the stats get attacked. Simple. And also, very importantly, is that it also opens up the whole stats as a resource thing more, because like what I'll have is like you'll have features that you can use your stats to give you like bonuses. Like I've already got one idea of like an initiative feat where you can burn your agility to increase your initiative. So I've got several ideas like that. Oh man, oh me, oh my. Goodness gracious. My hair. My hair's all cattywampus. Ah. What else? What else? What else? Yeah, I'm pretty happy with what I got so far. Just gotta write down a lot more. It's just gonna take time. That's the annoying part. Is like I've already got the vision in my head. It just requires application. I can't wait for the future where you can just like connect your brain to a computer and just have it instantly output like everything that you're thinking of. Like that'll just be so nice to just contextualize everything instead of sitting there being typing. It's just like, oh boom, like 10,000 words down. Then you sift through and it's like, okay, I kind of like that. I don't like that. That'll be nice. But for right now, we've got to use our stupid little fingers to get the ball rolling there. I mean, heck, I guess Stephen Hawking didn't even use his fingers, but he still how fast does he like what was his words per minute? I'm actually gonna look that up now. Stephen Hawking words per minute. Did he actually test this? Hawking was able to communicate at a rate of 15 words per minute. However, the nerve that allowed him to move his thumb kept degrading. Okay. Well, that sucks. So the technology isn't there yet. Good to know. Good to know. Alrighty. Well, I'm pretty stoked with what I got so far. I've got the core of the game. It's just a matter of mechanically enriching it with the subclasses and also the braking system, because I also don't want a death saving throw system because death saving throws are boring as hell. So basically, when a stat hits 0, you are broken in that stat, and depending on what inflicted that, like let's say if there's a difference between dropping to 0 personality from the Banshee wailing versus the giant smashing you with his club, because the giant smashes you, it does strength damage. Those have different results. So I need to flesh all that out, and then I'll start playtesting this and put it out to the people. Big job, huh? And then right now I've only got 6 classes, but the classes will your subclass will kind of push you way further than just what the normal class does. But I'm probably gonna have a few more classes in there as well. But I'm just gonna start off with these. I want to like really just keep it real simple for the play test and get the mechanics refined, and then I'll work on everything else. You need a second monitor. I have an ultra wide, and it's so nice to have two screens pull up. You get another one day. You just need more super chats. I mean, overboard. I'm not gonna lie. Like, two monitors would help out so freaking much. I can't tell you how annoying it is to like just have layers on layers of things because like it's so annoying. But it's not this day. It is not this day. I went over to my buddy's house and he had three monitors, and then like another one was like, "Oh yeah, I've got four monitors," and I'm just like, "Oh my god!" Like, it would be so nice to have multiple monitors. Jeez Louise. Wouldn't it be nice if I could see what I'm doing when I'm working in the sun? Wouldn't it be nice? Oh well. Yeah, well. I'll tell you what, YouTube certainly doesn't pay the bills because YouTube, you know, YouTube's not exactly the biggest thing. That being said, though, literally, I want to say like yesterday, all shorts now are gonna start getting extra monetized. So maybe I'll see an increase, and maybe I'll get like an extra like 2 pennies a day. That'll be cool. I know all the YouTubers who get really big views, like D&D Shorts. Like I'm sure he's pretty stoked about the whole monetization of the shorts, because that's gonna be big. I don't think my shorts like get anywhere between 300 to 1,000 views or whatever. But I'm sure the people that get actual views are doing pretty happy. Are gonna be happy with all that. Okay. Um. Yeah. So another thing too is I also like I'm gonna put out the core rules of the game, like just real nice, real tight, real simple. But then at the back of it, I actually do want to put in like air quote homebrew rules, or like I guess they'll be like rules variants, I guess, because I don't want it to just be like everyone having to like come up with like, oh, there's like I like the majority of the game, but like there's this one thing I don't like. So like I kind of want to put in some variants there for the people that maybe they want a bit of a change here and there and everywhere, and I want to put them some like suggestions and straight up like different maybe mechanics. I think that could be good for some people. But once again, that's going to be way in the future. I gotta write the system first here. Gots to write the system first. Okay. Okay. All right. It's about damn time. I go to the gym and I hear that Lizzo song every single time. Which, admittedly, I think it's a good workout song. It's like got a good beat, especially if I'm on like a stairmaster or something. But it's just funny that like every time I go, it's consistently on. But I haven't been able to go to the gym recently because I just got my tooth taken out a little while ago. But now that my mouth hole is no longer a hole, I'll be able to go back to the gym. So I'm pretty stoked about that. Pretty stoked. I can once again get my swole on. And also, very interesting is when I go to the gym, all the time, I'll go to the gym and I'll have an idea for something all the time. And then I'll just sit, and I'll just be sitting there like, oh my gosh, like that, that's a really good idea for like my adventure or for my YouTube channel or for whatever. And then I'll sit there and like I'll write it down real quick, and I get a bunch of like ideas coming out of like when I'm working out, and so it's a good way to kind of clear the mind, as it were. Okay. Anything else? Honestly, I don't have too much to say. I mean, I'm just working on my thing, trying to help people out here, trying to expand people's horizons. As a friendly reminder, I'm running the public games on my Discord. Join my Discord, link down below, and you can join in on some public games. I'm going to be running them starting on the 5th. I'm going to be running some carnival games, so check all that out. So if anyone has any last questions, concerns, gripes, moans, complaints, observations, feel free to ask. I seen a YouTube video headline that said YouTube is pay to win. Didn't watch the video. Wonder what they meant. YouTube is pay to win. Absolutely. The more money you spend, for example, being Mr. Beast and all of his clones, invariably, they spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars, on individual videos, or just the channel as a whole. And thus they get a return on investment. I personally cannot do what Mr. Beast does. For example, being like Mr. Beast's newest video, he just restored 1,000 people's eyesight. I personally couldn't do that because I'm not rich enough. That guy has now, that video probably has over 100 million views now. Let me take a look here. So that video has 81 million views. So that guy got 81 million views for being rich. Which, mind you, the reason he got rich is because, he's been going at it for an incredibly long time. He gets investors. He does this. He does that. He does a bunch of things, right? So it is absolutely pay to win because you get money, you spend money, and you keep on just returning that investment. And eventually at some point, like when you're poor, YouTube is terrible. If you don't have a good editing software, if you don't have a good camera, if you don't have a good microphone, your chances of succeeding are incredibly dismal. There's a number of factors as to why YouTube is pay to win. But the discrepancy between the potential for someone that is poor versus someone that is rich able to succeed on YouTube, it's clearly night and day. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I also want to say your adventure guides have been more helpful than any other guides on the internet. You are criminally unsubscribed and underrated. Thank you, Mitchell. Thank you so very much. That's why I make those adventure guides. I just want to help people. I'm not able to restore 1,000 people's eyesights, but I can help 1,000 DMs run their adventure. That's my contribution right there. That is my contribution right there. Ah. Alrighty. LOL, well, my group has had a lot more fun doing Chris Job because of those guides. Well, thank you, thank you. Happy to help. It's honestly just one of those things of there's like it sucks, but there's a reason why other D&D YouTubers aren't doing what I'm doing is because it's just not profitable. Riddle me this. Which is going to get more views? top 10 magic items that are totally awesome, or part number 33 of running this particular adventure. Right? One's going to get a lot more views than the other. And ultimately, that's just what it comes down to is just a lot of D&D YouTubers choose the correct path. There's a difference between correct and right, is what I'll say, though. You know, because, like, obviously, like, there's a bunch of people that want, you know, advice or, you know, guidance on running things a certain way. But why would you make why would you make a video for DMs only when you can make a video for both players and DMs? Why would you make part 33 of a series when you could have, you know, a one and done, cool, epic thing? Overboard becoming a YouTube member. Thank you so very much. Do I seriously not have like a flashing thing for OBS? I will certainly work on that at some point. I will have, like, when you become a subscriber or whatever, like OBS flashes up or whatever. I will certainly work on that. But thank you so very much, Overboard. Once again, keeping the lights on around here, keeping me off the streets. Thank you so very much. Thank you. I will certainly have a bunch of things coming. You know, it just takes a little bit of time. I'm a little bit stretched on several other things, but I'm really, really dedicated to writing out this tabletop role-playing game system. And also, I'll show off other projects that I'm working on as well. I'm also got my my fun Mega Dungeon adventure Slay the Beast here, which is a Mega Dungeon not a hex crawl. It's just a Mega Dungeon adventure kind of set, like a parody of Beauty and the Beast, where you are part of the mob, as it were. But it's okay because the Beast is a bad guy, so you don't have to feel bad. But you're plundering the castle and the castle grounds, and it's gonna be like it's gonna take multiple trips to the castle to like get everything, kind of thing. Fun times to be had there. And another project I'm also very, very deep into is also the Reverse Dungeon Mega Crawl here, which is a Mega Dungeon Reverse Hex Crawl, which is basically just a humongous underground place that you get sent to the bottom of, and you got to crawl your way out. I've got a bunch on this. Let me take a look here. I've got 12,000 words into this adventure, so that one's going pretty well so far. But I've got a lot of, you know, I'm working a lot here. But yeah, thank you so very much. I'm really looking forward to putting out a bunch of content for you all. Looking forward to running public games for you all. Once again, join the Discord down below. You want to join in my public games? Gonna be running them. That'll be a fun time all around. Oh, man. This was a swell day for me. I got some donos, and I got a new YouTube member. Heck yeah. And I got to show off a bunch of the fun jazz. I'm stoked. I'm stoked. This is the bees needs, cat's pajamas, dog's woof right up in here. Alrighty. Well, any more questions, comments, concerns, gripes, moans, or complaints? Otherwise, I'm going to start making my way out, rest my voice a little, and then get back to that grind of writing. Anyone has anything? I've got to learn OBS so I can start streaming a little myself. Heck yeah. That's honestly the great thing is OBS is literally as simple as turning it on. You download it, you're Gucci. It is so good. Have you thought about having a higher patron tier where you have private D&D advice sessions or private D&D sessions? I do. I currently do. I do have that. It's just that the Patreon hasn't been that active recently because, you know, the whole OGL fiasco and all that fun jazz. But I absolutely have a tier where if you pledge high enough, you can absolutely I'll spend like one time with you. I've had several people sign up for that, so I need to. My problem is just I knew that I was just testing you. My problem is just that I've been really bad about selling myself. I need to put it more out there about my Patreon and YouTube memberships and all that fun jazz. Because I know like every other D&D YouTuber is just like, oh hey, check out my Patreon, check out my LinkedIn, check out my this, check out my that, and like I'm really bad at that. But I need to start working on that in the future here. But yeah, absolutely do. Alrighty, well. Alrighty, I've been going for a decent amount of time, so I think I'm gonna call it there. Uh, any last second questions, comments, concerns, grants, moans, or quits? Any last ones? All the meanwhile, as you're all doing that, let me wrap this up here. Yeah, where the frick? Boom. Man, that like I that Magic the Gathering D&D art was like there was a lot of bangers. Good stream, thanks. Thank you so much, Overboard. Thank you. Keeping the dream alive. You are carrying this channel on your shoulders. So thank you so very much. Alrighty, well, that is gonna do it for me. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you all for listening. Thank you to the awesome donos, and thank you to the membership. Thank you to the chatters. Thank you to the lurkers. Thank you to Indestructible for that little raid there. Thank you so much for everything and everything, because y'all are totally awesome. Thanks for the kind words. Thanks for the suggestions. Thanks for everything. Y'all are totally great. But that is going to do it for me. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you all for listening. Thank you to everybody. And I cannot wait to see you all next one. See ya.